Tonight, wildfires rage across Los Angeles. Firefighters push their limits to control the flames, and an unexplainable sighting leaves emergency responders in disbelief. Los Angeles was burning. Over the past months, relentless wildfires have consumed entire neighborhoods, leaving behind devastation on an unimaginable scale. More than 25,000 structures have been reduced to ashes, among them the luxurious homes of Hollywood's most famous residents. Thick black smoke rises into the sky, turning day into an eerie twilight, and a choking layer of ash covers the streets. The fires move faster than anyone can anticipate, spreading unpredictably with the shifting winds. Evacuations are in full effect, with thousands fleeing their homes, many with only the clothes on their backs. The situation is growing dire. Firefighters working around the clock are reaching their limits, many of them pushing through exhaustion and dehydration to battle the relentless inferno. But just when they thought the worst had already come, something happened that no one could explain. The call came in late in the afternoon. A mansion on the outskirts of the city was reported to be completely engulfed in flames, with thick black smoke billowing high into the sky. It was one of many fires that day, but something about this call was different. Witnesses claimed to have seen a figure inside the burning house. At first, the assumption was that it was a trapped resident, someone who had been unable to escape the flames in time. But as firefighters raced toward the property, the details that emerged from the frantic reports grew stranger. The figure inside, according to multiple witnesses, was not behaving like someone trying to flee. It wasn't running, wasn't calling for help. It wasn't reacting to the fire at all. It simply stood there, watching. When the first team of firefighters arrived, they found the mansion nearly collapsed, its walls crumbling under the weight of the fire. Embers rained down around them, heat waves distorting the air, making it difficult to see clearly. Through the swirling smoke, they caught their first glimpse of the figure. Deep within the inferno, standing completely still, was something that should not have been there. It appeared to be a person, but his proportions were wrong. It was tall, unnaturally thin, its limbs elongated in a way that didn't make sense. Its skin was blackened, slick, almost as if it were made of tar. Its eyes, if they could be called that, glowed faintly, reflecting the firelight like smoldering embers. But the most unsettling part was how the smoke behaved around it. The thick, black tendrils of smoke moved as if drawn to its body, twisting and curling around it unnaturally, as though it was part of the fire itself. One firefighter, stepping forward cautiously, shouted toward the figure. No response. Another approached, flashlight in hand, trying to get a clearer view, but the beam seemed to bend around the figure, swallowed by the thick, unnatural darkness surrounding it. Then, just as suddenly as they had seen it, the figure moved. Not like a person turning to walk away, but something much stranger. It seemed to shift, like a shadow breaking apart in the wind. In the blink of an eye, it was gone. The firefighters stood frozen for a moment, stunned by what they had just witnessed. Their radios crackled with new emergency calls. The fire was spreading too fast and they had to move. Whatever they had seen, whatever had been inside that house, they had no time to investigate. The structure was moments away from total collapse. With one final glance toward where the figure had stood, the team turned back toward their trucks and retreated. Later, as they regrouped at the command post, they shared their experience with their commanding officer. At first, no one wanted to say it out loud, but each of them had seen the same thing. the same unnatural figure, the same unsettling stillness, the same eerie presence that defied all explanation. Was it an illusion? A trick of the fire and smoke? Was it exhaustion and stress playing tricks on their minds? One of the more seasoned firefighters, a veteran with over 20 years of experience, listened to their descriptions with a grim expression. He had heard similar stories before. Not just from Los Angeles, but from other wildfire zones across the country. Strange figures seen standing in the flames, shadows moving against the wind, survivors speaking of something watching from the fire. He had always dismissed them as stress-induced hallucinations, but now, hearing the same story from his own crew, he wasn't so sure. A forensic team was dispatched to examine the aftermath once the fire had burned itself out. They sifted through the remains of the mansion, searching for human remains, expecting to find what was left of a body. But there was nothing. No bones, no traces of a person, nothing that could explain what the firefighters had seen. Officially, the report stated that no one had been inside the house when the fire started. The mansion had been abandoned for weeks, its owners having already evacuated. The incident was dismissed as stress-induced hallucination, a common occurrence in high-intensity situations. But those who were there knew better. Some firefighters theorized that it could have been a person, a victim of the fire, their body so badly burned that it took on a human appearance before collapsing into ash. Others believed it was a trick of the heat, an illusion created by the flickering flames and smoke. But others, those who had seen similar things in past fires, whispered a different theory. Something else exists in the flames. Fires consume everything in their path: homes, trees, cars, entire towns, reduced to ash in moments. But what if something remains? Something drawn to the heat, to the destruction, something that only appears when the world is burning around it. For the firefighters who saw the figure that night, the question remains unanswered. They don't speak of it openly, but they remember. In the middle of one of the worst fires Los Angeles has ever seen, they saw something that should not have been there. Something that stood in the flames and watched them. Something that left no trace behind. What do you think the firefighters saw that night? Could it have been a rare atmospheric illusion, a product of extreme heat and exhaustion? Or was it something much more unsettling? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you love real-life stories that leave you questioning everything, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes the worst things aren't in the fire itself, but what lurks within it.